Okay, so here's what we wanted you to get out of this activity today. So when we look at the numbers 8 and 5, 8 is definitely bigger, so we should have put a greater than symbol. Okay, alligator's eating a bigger number. All right, so then when we come down here and multiply by 2, we get 16, and 5 times 2, we get 10. And so which is bigger? Well, it's still going to be 16. So I want you to notice when I multiplied by 2, nothing changed. This side was still bigger. Okay, now I'm multiplying both sides by 3. Well, I would expect that this side would still be bigger, and 24 and 15, yep, 24 is bigger. And so we want you to notice that whenever you multiply both sides, like we like to do in equations, you know, we'll multiply both sides by the same thing, that nothing changes when we multiplied both of them by a positive 2 and a positive 3. And it wouldn't matter what positive number we multiplied by, this side will always be bigger. However, something happens when you multiply by a negative. And this is what we want you to see today. When I multiply by a negative 2, this becomes a negative 16, and then this is a negative 10. Well, when you are dealing with negatives, the bigger it is, it's actually smaller. And so now, this side is bigger. And so my inequality symbol flips when we multiply by a negative. And that's the key thing today that we need you to memorize. It's going to be a new rule that we have with inequalities. And so this was bigger, but when we multiplied by a negative number, this became smaller, and it flipped my inequality symbol. Okay, let's see if it still applies here. So this is a negative 24 and a negative 15. And so because this is negative, the bigger it is, the smaller it is. So this is actually the bigger number. And if I could explain this in terms of money, let me come back here real quick. $16, if you have $16, that's a lot more than, well, not a lot more, but it's more than $10, right? You'd rather have $16. You know, you'd rather have $24 rather than 15, so that's kind of easy, that makes sense. Negative numbers, think of it as you owe money. Okay, well, you don't want to owe $16, you'd rather owe 10. Okay, now I know you don't want to owe money at all, but with 16, if you owe 16, you actually have less money. Okay, you have more money if you only owe 10. Okay, and so negatives are kind of difficult to look at, but maybe if you think of it in terms of owing, you would rather owe $10, so that makes it the bigger one. Okay, I would rather owe $15 rather than $24, so that's the bigger number. Okay, because this one right here, we don't want to owe money. Owe money means we have less money. You know, if I have to pay $24 instead of $15, I have less money, okay? And so sometimes if you look like that, it may help you. Now, in the end, if this is kind of confusing, that's okay. I don't want you to stress over it. You know, we're going to go and we're going to learn with our video exactly what it is that we're going to be doing today, so don't let this part stress you out. But this is going to be the reasoning behind what we're going to teach you today.